Blwyddyn Newydd, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first episode of the Chip Over the Top Rugby podcast in 2024. Happy New Year to you all. If you are new here, welcome, and if you've been here before, welcome back. I hope you all had a fantastic Christmas and New Year's Eve, and I'm very much looking forward to 2024 and what is to come. Speaking of which, I had a fantastic Christmas, fantastic New Year's. I was going to upload a video after the last one with that limbo period in between Boxing Day and obviously New Year's Day, the Welsh Derbies, but I didn't. But 2023 for me personally, just a little overview, was a year of first. I started this YouTube sort of podcast on here. I had the podcast going on sort of Spotify and stuff, but I really wanted to put like a face behind the account and just, you know, upload some videos and stuff as well for YouTube. So it was a year first, hit 500 subscribers, which I'm really excited about, and I'm looking forward to growing the channel in 2024, uploading lots of content for you. And if you want to make 2024 a year of firsts, be the first person to subscribe below in 2024, because that would make me very happy, and that probably make you very happy for accomplishing one of your tasks for 2024. I'm just kidding. You don't have to, obviously, but if you do enjoy this content, I very much appreciate it if you were to smash that subscribe button and also give this video a thumbs up, because it helps the algorithm out. And if it helps the algorithm out, guess what? It's going to get this video seen in front of more rugby people, who is only going to help them become more knowledgeable about rugby in general. I'm just kidding. They probably are already knowledgeable, but there we go. Hoping to obviously grow this account. I'd love to, you know, hit 1,000 subs and beyond, and sort of match the echelons that I have across social media, Instagram, TikTok as well, which are growing every day. Links below. So the last time out, we were gearing up for the Boxing Day derbies of Welsh Rugby, which I was actually excited for, because for the first time since moving to America 5 years ago, I was able to actually sit down and watch them, albeit with a VPN, which was kind of frustrating, but it, you know, it is what it is. It was just part and parcel of such, you know, rugby in America is 9 times out of 10 behind a paywall, and it is what it is. But 2024, obviously the Six Nations are very much fast approaching, and so yeah, I was looking forward to sitting down after Christmas and just watching sort of Welsh Rugby, and then New Year's Day as well. You know, the games that happened yesterday. Today is the 2nd, and it is 6:40 p.m. But you might be wondering, Ryan, why are you having a coffee at 6:40? Well, I'm about to go to the gym, but I'm also mid-fast. I'm like, I wanted to start off the year with a 60-hour fast, which is basically abstaining from eating, caloric intake, and so coffee helping me through. It's an appetite suppressant, obviously, as well, what caffeine is. So I'm going to go to the gym after this. Happy days. And you might be wondering, Ryan, why are you wearing a Dragons top? Well, this is the new one, like the third kit one, the alternate kit, and I think it's absolutely banging. And it's in homage to the Dragons beating the Scarlets, which we'll get to very, very soon. But anyway, let's move on. So like I said, I was going to upload a video after each sort of game that happened, the Boxing Day derbies, and also yesterday, but I thought, you know what, I'll just wait. It's kind of a weird period between Christmas and sort of New Year's, because they're so close, and I'll just wait and I'll upload one at the beginning of the new year to kick things off. So this is the one that you are watching, ladies and gentlemen. So without further ado, let's get into it, because, like I said, we are very close to the start of the Six Nations. We're about a month away. In fact, it's going to be a month this weekend. So obviously the teams are going to be selected, who's going to be vying for positions, who's put their hands up, all sorts. And of course, some exciting stuff in regards to me producing some content for the Six Nations. Shh. Anyway, let's go on back to Boxing Day. And as I was sitting there after Christmas Day with a cup of tea in hand, I had a fry-up. It was incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, Cardiff absolutely hammered. They put down a marker against the Dragons at the Arms Park in that opening game of the Boxing Day derbies. it was a rout, and I did generally feel for the Dragons. And why did I feel for the Dragons? Because what you need to understand is that if you're a fan of Welsh rugby, it doesn't matter which region you are, you support as a diehard fan, or whether you support like a Welsh Prem club or just your local club in general. If you want Welsh rugby to succeed, all the regions need to be doing well. And seeing them beat that heavily is quite sad to see. But they did come back, and we'll talk about that in a second, for New Year's Day by beating the Scarlets, which is happy days. But the Dragons have always been the underdogs in the Welsh regions. It's kind of like the Islands Connacht, but Connacht have come up now because everyone's on the same page, which we'll get to in a second as well, because the WRU came out with their sort of little strategy, 6-step strategy to bring up the WRU and the Welsh rugby on par with every other nation to be competitive. But with a heavy defeat, you could argue, and some people have said, that some of the Dragons players aren't good enough to play professional rugby, which is quite like an extreme take on things. But at the end of the day, you just have to sort of look at the squad and see the comparisons. Like, not many Dragons players get selected for Wales. A lot from Cardiff, Scarlets and the Ospreys do. And therefore what happens is, when you get these players going up to the Welsh sort of setup and they go through an extensive training period, they're going to level up, right? And they're going to enhance their skills. They're going to enhance their abilities. And when they go back to the regions, they take that with them, and it sort of develops players up around them. You just got to look at like how many internationals are at Cardiff, how many are at Scarlets, how many are at Ospreys and whatnot, how many involved in the Welsh setup throughout the years. And you'll just see that the Dragons aren't the top team in Wales in terms of talent going towards Wales. So it's going to take some time, but I do believe that the Dragons can get there. So when players, like I said, it enhances their natural talent as well, right? And sometimes that's easy to see, especially on a derby day like this. You just saw some differences in playing levels between the teams. And you go down 45-7 at the half, and you have to come out with guns blazing, but there's not enough firepower within the Dragons squad in their depth to be able to do so. But they did come back and held Cardiff to just 10 points in the second half. 55-21 loss is pretty brutal. And I've always said this, that I think there needs to be some sort of system in place where you send players from the regions throughout the year to kind of level up. But there's still going to be a tier drop off, right? If you look at like when we talk about sort of Welsh rugby, I like the system where in American football, for example, I know 2 different sports, but for example, the rookie draft, there's usually like a tier drop off around the 2nd, 3rd round of like elite talent versus talent that could work hard and sort of level up. But then obviously the talent that is elite already and they work hard, they're going to just keep leveling up and leveling up and level up. So there's still going to be a gap from top to bottom, but you're kind of just bringing everybody up. And I think there needs to be a system in place where that happens. So moving on, Scarlets v Ospreys. It was the first time in 10 years that the Ospreys had managed to do the West Wales Derby twice in a year. But guess what? The Scarlets didn't make it easy, right? It was 0-0 at half time. But the second half was a different story. And I suppose it had to be from an entertainment standpoint. Ospreys coming away 25 points to 11. But late in the half as well, both teams going down to 14. So that kind of needs to change, because we're going into the Six Nations and we need more discipline, right? You can't have the regions being ill-disciplined, because that might transfer through to the Six Nations team, the Welsh team, which is obviously going to hinder Wales. And we don't want that as Welsh fans. I do apologise, by the way, I'm a little bit scatterbrained right now. I did write down everything, but like I said, I'm deep into a fast and coffee madness. What are you doing, Davis? That's my surname, by the way, in case you didn't know. But yeah, Ospreys did enough to pick up the win in that one. Now, like I said, before we move on to, I didn't say this, but Before I move on to the fixtures from the weekend just gone, or New Year's Day rather, I want to discuss what the WRU announced, but I also want to discuss what Sam Warburton has suggested in his article, because I think they're very, very interesting, and I do believe combining the two is probably one of the best methods that Wales can do on the whole to move forward and progress as not only regionally, but as a nation in rugby, right? And so the WRU has come out with a 6-step plan that they're going to fully announce in the spring in detail. But for now, they've just given a brief overview of what that is. And I'm going to put it on the screen for you right now. The first step is a One Wales. Now, I have been saying this for a long time, but you look at the structure of Ireland, right? Every team in Ireland, the 4 provinces, Connacht, Munster, Leinster and Ulster, all have a very, very similar playing structure. There's always the pod system, there's always the backdoor pass, the second option out the back, the sort of 3-wave attack system, and it works. Every player that gets into the Irish squad already knows the system because that's how they play at their regions. So there needs to be some sort of system in place where you can easily transfer from the regions to the international level, and there's not that much big of a gap, right? There may be an intensity increase, but there still needs to be an easy transition, because I feel like there's not enough players who could make that easy transition without 2-3 months sort of training camp for Wales like they did at the World Cup, for example, right? I think that needs to happen more often, training camps throughout the year. And I think you need to sort of maybe bring back the A-team as well, like the A-team, Apollo. Is it Apollo? Apollo Creed? Yeah, no, that's not, never mind. Clubber Lang. That's where I was going with, Clubber Lang from the A-team, because the more people I think you can get into like the Welsh setup, it's only going to increase the skill level, the physicality, the intensity, and the skill set, and therefore that's going to translate onto the pitch, right? And it should, in theory, help the international team, which is what everybody in Wales wants, right? Yes, you are a fan of Cardiff, Ospreys, Scarlets, Dragons, or even like local teams, but at the end of the day, a successful Welsh rugby team, national team, is only going to be beneficial for everyone. It is what it is. The second step is creating a strategy for the WRU support of Welsh rugby and how they can make more money to invest in the game, both professionally and at community level. Because as we know, the community level is where it all stems from. The more people you get involved in rugby, the more people who are likely to go and watch the semi-professional game, who are then also more likely going to go and watch and support the regions. More money we get involved in it, the better. Right? That way we can increase budgets, the squad sizes go back up, we don't have to rely on sort of younger players coming through, even though that's what we want, but there just needs to be a support system in place where everybody benefits. Point number 3 is an inclusive culture, and I do believe that is off the back of the scandals that happened at the beginning of 2022, or the ones, of 2023, the ones that came out into sort of the public eye, which was, most unfortunate, but that is important. We need everybody to be on the same level. Completing the strategy for the women's game. So obviously there needs to be because at the end of the day, growing rugby in general is paramount, right? We want this sport to be one of the best sports in the world. I do believe it is one of the best sports in the world, but we also want everybody to sort of level up at the same time. That's not only the men's game, but the women's game, and then the age grade rugby as well, right? Step 5 is focusing on player welfare, and I do believe that is, stemming from sort of everything that you're seeing at the moment in terms of the lawsuits with player head injuries and tackle heights and things like that. And then the final and last step is just improving the governance of the game, which is basically encompassing everything and just looking forward to making the game more professional. And I do believe with the appointment of Abby Tierney, I believe that who it is, bringing in people and having the board and getting everything in place is going to help. And the full detailed plan is due to be released in the spring, which I'm looking forward to. So moving on, I did briefly mention before I wanted to get into the New Year's Day's fixtures that I wanted to talk about Sam Warburton's sort of article that he came out with regarding sort of how he thinks the structure of Welsh rugby should go in order to save it, but also not just the Welsh setups, but like in England, because as we know, a couple of teams from England have folded, and we want to sort of be proactive rather than reactive. So he has outlined what he thinks needs to be done in order to save Welsh rugby, and to be honest, I don't knock it at all. I think it's an excellent idea. It's basically a British and Irish league. You have, two divisions, each with 10 teams. So you have the 10 English Prem teams, 4 Welsh teams, 4 Irish, and 2 Scottish teams. Home and away fixtures. It will sort of, in my opinion, I think it'll make it easier for crowds to be consistently high. You just got to look at sort of what happened when Bath travelled down to Cardiff. That was a sellout. And I think games like that is just so beneficial just to create that atmosphere. As a fan, you don't want to be going to a game where like the stands are empty. You want to be going where there's like a good buzz, there's a good atmosphere. Like when I went to watch the Stormers in November, Cardiff was a sellout pretty much. It was fantastic atmosphere. Cardiff obviously coming away with a win on that one. But that's sort of what you want. You want that to happen. You want the crowds to be full. You want the stands to be full. You want more sellouts, more income, which will create more rivalries. And it would replace the URC system, which is okay because I think then the Italian squads can jump into the French league, which will boost their sort of level and standard of playing, I think, personally. And then South Africa can either join back up to the rugby champs, or they can have their own standalone league. And maybe still be involved somehow in the European setup, which means that they get to sort of play up against the teams in Europe every once in a while. But I think it's a good idea. And if you want a standalone system on that, standalone video rather, do let me know. Comment below, thumbs up, and subscribe and all that jazz. Now, moving on. A couple of controversies stemming from the New Year's Day fixtures. Let us start off with the Dragons and the Scarlets. The Dragons took their first win of the year against the Scarlets, and I say the first win of the year because obviously it's the first game of 2024, and they won. Dragons winning by a point, which put even more pressure on the Scarlets and Dwayne Peel, who is their manager, who now sit in 13th place of the URC, which is still ahead of the Dragons, who sit in 15th, but Sam Costello, his first game back, he's vying for that vacant 10 spot for the Six Nations, missed a key penalty, which resulted in the Scarlets losing. If he got it, they would have gone ahead. With Sam Costello coming back in the fold, Yohan Lloyd slotted into 15, filling in that utility sort of player role that he has, which could be a nice sort of option coming off the bench for Wales maybe, but we'll see how Gats sees everything. Obviously, I'm not the coach. I'm just the Welsh guy in America of the Chip Over the Top Rugby podcast. That is me. Sam aims to cement himself as a front runner. But like I said, with that missed penalty, is that sort of just rust? Probably, right? But also harsh weather conditions. It was pretty sloppy on New Year's Day in Wales, and I'm glad that I was here in America because it was absolutely awful. Weather here was gorgeous, might I add. Aaron Wainwright earning his 100th appearance for the region, and he also crossed the whitewash, which was fitting, I think, for that. And that is why, of course, I'm paying homage to the Dragons. Like I said at the beginning, I think, you need to be able to support all the regions. And I have a piece of kit from all the regions except the Dragons and now the Scarlets. So I need to get something from the Scarlets, I think. So moving on to the Ospreys Cardiff fixture. It wasn't played at Swansea.com Stadium. It was played at Dunraven, which is the Bridgend RFC squad's stadium, which did have some controversy. There was an article, an image that posted up from Wales Online right here with this lorry, right? And people were like, are they using that for the stands? No, it was pre-match entertainment where people just jumped in to watch the band or the band. It was something to do with the band pre-fixture, but yeah, it was quite wet And obviously, you know, the stadium isn't the same in terms of facilities or what it can offer for the fans in terms of day, to just being at the stadium, right, for the day. Like, there's not many places to hide if it's absolutely pissing down, and it was. And a lot of people did get wet, and the pitch was absolutely devastated. Just mud, water everywhere, waterlogged, but it is what it is. It was a sellout fixture, but conditions meant that some fans were left quite wet, as I've said. And, you know, it wouldn't be a classic Welsh Derby without the weather, right? Let's be honest. Like, when I went to Swansea and Scarlets in November, it was pissing down. Didn't rain all week until then, of course, naturally. Ospreys coming away with a win, but overcoming a deficit at the half. Tries from both Cardiff wingers in the first half wasn't enough to secure the win, and Ospreys with a late try from Kieran Giles, who scored the opener as well, coming away at the end to get the winning try. Ended up winning the game 27 points to 21. So with that being said, who has put their hands up? Who has put their hands up for Gatland to be like, yo, I'm picking you? I guess all will be revealed very, very soon. For now, if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more content. And of course, Diolch and fawr, thank you very much for watching. This is the Chip Over the Top Rugby podcast. A little bit scattered, I do apologise. Like I said, deep into a fast. Lots of caffeine today, just to suppress the appetite. But yeah, Blwyddyn Newydd, folks. Blwyddyn Newydd. I was going to film this earlier on in the day, but I was just ploughing through work because when you fast, you got to keep your mind busy. And this is why I'm doing this podcast right now. I'm going to edit it in the sauna, upload it tomorrow, and you will be viewing it tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Diolch and fawr. Peace.